I'm Frank.
And I'm Grant, and our idea for Field and Flame stemmed from our love for the outdoors and cooking. Based in northern Minnesota, we have such incredible resources available to us. From duck to deer and salmon to walleye, we truly have it all. Field and Flame is a show about our adventures in the field and cooking what we capture over the flame. Follow along each week as we explore something new and bring taste and flavor to every meal. Season 1 of Field and Flame TV is brought to you by Canine Health Forward, because every dog deserves this. Northern Minnesota, from an outdoorsman's perspective, is primarily known for walleye fishing and grouse hunting, and certainly not goose hunting. Up here, you're not going to experience numbers of geese like elsewhere in the state, but maybe that's what makes each bird, each opportunity, and each shot so special. And if you're lucky enough to get one or two birds, you are in for a treat, because when prepared correctly, geese are fine eating. This is a story about a day in the northern Minnesota goose blind.
We did some good scouting when the geese were sitting right in front of the blind when we got here, and hopefully they'll circle back after a couple hours or bring some other family groups in here. All right, so we got a blind we built earlier this summer. Brushed it all in. We'll do a little more of that when we get settled in. And I got a couple panel blinds here to cover us up a little more. We got about 40 goose floaters, give or take, and we got some full bodies too. We're kind of on this little mud flat here on the edge where geese have been loafing. So we're gonna put those full bodies there. A couple logs we'll set out, and then we'll put our decoys out. There's like a 9-mile-an-hour northwest wind, so they'll be coming in this way. We'll set our decoys up with a nice hook. Hopefully they'll finish right in front of us. All right, so we're out here. We got about an hour till shooting lights. We're gonna get our decoys set. Like I said, we're gonna make this kind of like a big J almost, with a long tail coming out. Kind of get these geese to sweep in this bay. Not the perfect wind, but it's still pretty good wind for where we're at, so we're gonna go with it. And we're just gonna get through this water, all these rocks and mud, and get these decoys set.
False alarm. You just never know.
It's Murph chomping over there.
Well, you got it. I mean, you're so in
no.
tune to just that one high note.
Yeah.
And you can hear it for 2 miles. So. Especially with the north wind today
coming down the river.
Yeah.
You ready? I know, but I'm saying get ready. Shoot him on the water, huh? Just keep going on the right. Ooh, they're far. Right, ready? Go back! All right, so we had a nice group come in. They landed pretty far out. They're pretty far. We'll send the dog, but I'm gonna go get the boat in the meantime, just in case.
So we had some
some high flyers. We did some pretty good calling. Brought some birds down. They flared on their first pass, and then we were able to call them back in for a second look. But they hung up short, so we took some long shots. Got a couple crippled birds on the water. And what we do then is we shut the hunt down. We go retrieve the birds, and get them back to the blind. These birds are the first. These local Canada geese are the first to migrate. So you're going to see a lot of high flyers, and we're going to try to. But sometimes we'll call them traffic birds. So we're working traffic, and we're going to try to get those high flyers to come down. It's pretty rare that we see birds this early in the morning moving south, but this north wind, they're going to start riding that wind, taking advantage of it, and just start moving south for the year. You know, that flock came in and hung up and landed real short. It is what it is. You take what you can get. You can always hypothesize on why they hung up like that, why they landed short. That was a big flock. Must have been about 25, 30 birds, I'm guessing. And typically what they'll do is they'll hang up, they'll land far out, and they'll swim into the flock. We've got a pretty big flock here. Birds like to be courteous to other birds. They don't want to land right on them. So maybe we'll have to switch up the spread just a little bit. After Frank goes out, gets the boat, retrieves those two birds, we'll have a little talk, and we'll see if we'll switch up the flock a little bit, switch up the spread.
Let's go. Right here. That turned into a little more excitement than we were expecting. We had a big group come in. They landed really short. We got two though. They got wounded. Went and grabbed the boat, chased them down, killed them, sent the dog. He retrieved them. So we're 2 for 2. Didn't lose any birds, so that's always good news. So we're still early here. Again, it's 7 o'clock now. We got our first 2. These geese around here are really late risers. They're gonna be kind of roosting, feeding till about 8:30, and they're gonna get off and they just need to relax. So they're gonna fly from where they're at and they're gonna come sit in these loaf areas. These are spots that they just feel safe, feel secure, and they're just gonna hang out and relax. So we got our decoy set up with some full bodies on land here. We got some sitting out in the water farther out too, so they're just going to see this as a nice spot to hang out, and hopefully we'll get them sucked in here. They're coming.
Man, I am out of wind.
We had a nice little family group there swing in, and they seen something they didn't like, and that'll happen, so we didn't get them in, but there'll be more. For being this early and we're seeing what we're seeing, I'm pretty hopeful for the rest of the day. So we're up north here in the boreal forest, so we don't have any crops. There's no like fields with feed on them. There's no oats, there's no corn, there's nothing. So what these geese are looking for is wild rice, and there's some pondweed that they can eat as well. But as far as feed goes, I mean, there's not a lot of options. So the fact that we're seeing these geese is a pretty big deal for us. Our populations just aren't as high up here, so we take what we can get and we work hard for them. And I mean, I probably walked 6 miles today to shoot 2 geese so far, so we'll see what else we can do. this spot like we said. We're thinking this is going to be like their loaf area, and this is exactly what they're doing, just a little too far out. But it's nice because they're comfortable, and maybe we can coax them in still, but right now they're just sitting on rocks, stretching out, preening, cleaning up. And this is what we thought they'd be doing here, but we just need to get a little bit closer, so we'll see how it goes. Right now they're about just under 200 yards out, so if we can coax these things in, it'd be a miracle, but we're working on it. So we got them to swim in. We waited half hour. A group of three started swimming in. They got about 5 yards from the edge of our decoy, and our furthest one's like 60 yards away on this hook. They turned away a little bit, so we figured we'd just take a shot at them. And didn't get any hard to get them on the water, but at least we're seeing them. So it's about 11 o'clock now. We're kind of calling it quits for the day. We're gonna get our decoys picked up. Usually around this time, all these geese are kind of at their loafing spots for the rest of the day. They're just gonna hang out, sun themselves, and just kind of be where they're gonna be for the next hours until sunset, and then they're kind of move back to their roosting area. So you can hunt evenings, you can hunt mornings, middle afternoons, kind of your downtime that we kind of head back and get ready for the next day. We have 2 geese, so that's not bad. We're up here, like I said before, in northern Minnesota where the geese aren't plentiful. We've seen a lot, which makes it a good hunt too, because it's not just about what we shot, and it was a good experience and we had some fun. We're gonna take these geese, we're gonna breast them out right now. I brought the duck dust, so we're gonna rub them down in that. We're gonna take the hearts and the livers out, and we're gonna take the legs off as well. But today we are gonna smoke the breasts. We're gonna do a hot, fast smoke, about medium rare. We're gonna slice them super thin, make a really good sandwich out of them. We have some cool ingredients that we're gonna use. We're gonna make a nice sauce too, and got a couple different spices we'll incorporate in. We got our decoys picked up. Now we're ready to eat. We're right outside the blind, gonna set up the table, get the smoker plugged in with our battery pack, and we got a pellet smoker here. We're gonna smoke these goose breasts for not a long time, but enough to get some smoke on them, get about medium rare, slice them really thin so they're nice and tender, still got a lot of good flavor, make a really nice hearty sandwich out of it to kind of fuel us up after a early morning hunt. So we'll start getting this all set up, ready to go, and start smoking. All right, so we have one of the geese here we got. I'm gonna pluck this and we're gonna cut the breasts out. This isn't by any means a mature adult goose, but it's what we got. So we are gonna eat it up. It's gonna taste good. It's gonna be delicious. With breasting these geese, there's lots of ways to do it. Early season, there's not gonna be a lot of fat on these. So we just are gonna pluck them, cut the breast out, and then we are also gonna save the legs, the liver, and the heart out of these as well. So like with a lot of wild game, people don't like it. They might think it tastes bad, but that's all in really how you prepare it and what you use to cook with it and how you cook it. So today we're gonna use our duck dust, which is a lot of like herb notes, really gives you the flavor of fall. So it's got ground thyme, rosemary, some other herbs, salts, peppers like that. So it's really gonna cover the gaminess of the meat. We're also, the big thing with goose is not overcooking it. So we're gonna smoke this, and then we are gonna do it to like medium rare, slice it thin, break down the chewiness that way, and it'll really help cover that gaminess. So now after I get this plucked, the breast is exposed, I'm gonna make a small slit on the breastbone here. And you're gonna ride that breastbone down. You can feel it till you hit the rib cage. And then you're just gonna work your knife around the bones. When you do this, there's a breast and there's a tenderloin, just like you would on a chicken. I like to keep those separate. Usually that tenderloin I'll throw in a pan quick and just do a quick hot sear on it. So with goose too, it's super dark meat. It's like purple. It has more gamey taste than you can say like a duck. It's got, if you don't cook it correctly, it will be chewy. That's why a lot of people don't like it. They just had it cooked incorrectly. Like I said, later on in the year, you can keep this skin on. It's got a lot of fat. Early season, there's not gonna be a lot of fat on these. And they all come with a tenderloin too. Little, not as dark, not as gamey, super good, just fried up quick. Looking for a medium rare. You cook these right, there's gonna be a lot of resemblance to beef, mainly for the fact is they eat the same things as cows do. They're eating in fields, they're eating oats and grains. They're also eating wild rice around here, so it's like a grass-fed kind of animal. So we have our breast here. We're gonna give it a little rinse, and then we are gonna let it dry, and then we are gonna season it with our duck dust, and it's gonna go straight on. Then we're gonna place it on the smoker, get it with a nice hot smoke, medium rare, slice it thin, build our sandwich. We also, after breasting these out, we'll cut open the, I guess you'd call the abdomen area there, and we'll pull out these innards that we're saving. So we are saving the gizzard. That's a big one. Yeah, we're not cooking this today, but these are just some things we save over the season. We'll split it, clean it out. We'll keep the liver if it's salvageable. Sometimes that's not as easy to salvage, but we will keep that. Just makes a great snack. And the heart too. The liver, I like to make a pate out of it, so I'll get a bunch of livers and I will cook them down with some cognac, some shallots, some thyme, and then throw them in a food processor and blend them up. And you got the heart here. Good thing about the geese, big heart, big gizzards, lots of meat on these things. We'll also save the legs off them. Now that we have these rinsed off, we are gonna smoke the breasts, the tenderloins, and the hearts in our duck dust. We're just gonna sprinkle this on, then we are gonna throw it on the smoker. Usually, like if I'm smoking something at home, I'm gonna brine these for a day, at least 12 hours, preferably a day, in like a salt and water solution. That also really helps draw out all the blood for that gaminess flavor. But we're out here in the woods right next to the blind, so we are just gonna go straight on with it. So you can apply this really liberally. They say about 30–40% of your seasoning falls off on the grill. This duck dust, like I said before, is super good on any kind of flying animal. Really good on grouse, really good on duck. This goose is gonna be delicious. It's got white pepper, salt, garlic, onion, ground rosemary, ground thyme, ground bay leaf, and a little bit of dried mustard. We're gonna smoke these whole. We're gonna do it hot, we're gonna do it fast. Probably about 300 degrees, probably bump it up to 350 after a little bit, see where we're at. We're gonna get a nice smoke on these. We're gonna go about rare, medium rare, nothing over medium rare. We're gonna let them rest and we're gonna slice them really thin. We're gonna pile them on our sandwiches. That medium rare sliced really thin is gonna make it very nice and tender, easy to eat. I'm gonna put these directly on this lower rack here. I'm gonna throw the tenderloins and the hearts on the upper rack just to get them off the heat a little bit. But those tenderloins and those hearts just gonna be our little before lunch snack. So in the meantime here, while this is smoking, we're gonna make a sauce quick. For our sandwich, it's gonna be super easy, super basic. We're just gonna take sour cream, some horseradish, our Northwood steak seasoning, and we're gonna mix that up, and it's gonna balance super well with that goose. And like I said before, goose, kind of like beef is the way I treat it. So that horseradish, kind of like with prime rib, super good flavors, pairs really well. Then we have some pickled onions for that as well. So with this sauce, we're just gonna do a little bit of horseradish in there. Like mine a little spicier, so I'm gonna add a little more. And we're just gonna take a scoop of sour cream. If I was back home, I might do things a little differently, but we're out here, so I'm gonna keep it very super easy, simple. Add a good mix. Then we're gonna add our Northwood steak seasoning for a little seasoning in there. So good the dog thinks it smells good. All right, so now that these are almost done, we are gonna slice this off into like sandwich sizes. And this is some homemade focaccia I got from a buddy of mine in Two Harbors. And this smoker here, I got these up to temp and I dropped the temp down a little bit, and I'm just gonna let them finish in that smoke real nice. We're gonna take this bread, we're gonna toast both sides, and we are gonna build these sandwiches. All right, so we got these. We're looking for about 125 for medium rare. Little under, a little over, it'll be all right. And so we're about right there. You don't want to go much over 130 if possible, just for the tenderness of everything. So we're gonna take these off. We're gonna let them rest for about 5 minutes before we slice them. The reason you do that is so all that juice can kind of stay intact. The meat doesn't. The meat will have a chance to just relax. Then we're gonna toast this bread. We drop this down to 180, so it's gonna be toasted. It's also gonna be smoked at the same time, so the flavor on this is gonna be delicious. All right, so now we got these rested. We're gonna slice them thin. You can see a nice little smoke ring on there. So this, the texture of this, really close to beef. It is stringier, you know. It's a wild animal, so it is a little stringy. It's not gonna be like eating filet or anything, but super good flavor, resembles beef a lot. Cooks like beef. I'd treat it just as I would beef. So I'm gonna cross cut it this way too, just because we are eating this on a sandwich. So just to make everything easier and less dripping all over the place, we're gonna cross cut it. We have our bread here, nice and toasted. It's kind of smoked as well, so it's gonna give it some really cool flavors. I'm just gonna set it there, let it soak up some of those juices. We got our sauce here we made earlier with our sour cream, Northwoods steak, horseradish, super easy, super basic. I'm gonna put it on the top and the bottom. Nice coating on there. I'm gonna pile this goose right on it. We're gonna do some pickled red onion. This is a super easy thing to make. If you're in a hurry, doesn't take long. A little white vinegar, sugar, a little bit of salt. Boil those down, throw them in a pan or in a container quick and just let them sit for half hour. So we got our goose on there, got our pickled red onions. Now we're gonna finish with these microgreens. These are pea, radish, and sunflower shoots. Just gonna top it off right here. So right there you got a super good for you, super lean wild game sandwich out here in northern Minnesota, out next to the duck blind. Can't get much better than that. And we smoked this with our duck dust. As you can see, it adhered really nicely. Really good on any kind of wild flying animal if you're doing grouse, pheasant, duck, goose, but it's super good on chicken too, chicken, turkey, anything like that. Super good fall-like flavors, lots of herbs, delicious combination. Matthew, you want to try some of this?
Yes, sir.
Some of your hard work after that goose hunt.
Looking good. Thanks.
Just awesome.
Super good.
All the flavors together just totally blend so well.
Have you had goose before?
Never.
Okay, what do you think?
It's awesome. I wasn't sure what to expect, but yeah, I mean, it's like basically a steak sandwich.
Yeah, for sure.
Fresh steak sandwich.
Yep.
The best meat you could ever ask for.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, man. I'm glad I could give you your first goose. And that'll end our episode today from northern Minnesota. Thanks for watching Field and Flame.